So we've went over the methods of training in singularity, but today we're going to put them all together and go over methods of training. The first method, possibly the most important method, is the max effort method. And the max effort method is super important for various reasons, but for the big reason is teaches to strain. So the max effort method is an ability for the body to learn how to use maximum resistance and strain against weights. For a lot of us, including me, it was a learned situation. It wasn't something that you're just born with to learn how to strain with maximum weights. The reason that is because the body always is trying to do stuff as most efficient. So super strong people tend to not be very efficient at burning a lot of calories in a very short period of time, which is not really good for survival, but awesome for maximal strength. So the next thing is that the max effort method teaches the ability to coordinate both external and internal. What does that mean? It means being able to learn how to balance a maximal lift on your back, but also to be able to coordinate all the mini muscle groups and maximal muscle groups that it's going to take to do the movement. So it teaches both internal and external coordination, which is massive. So if you're thinking about sports and any type of athletic endeavor, what you're going to find is that coordination is going to be key to not only making power, but being able to use power. The next big thing that the max effort method teaches is maximal motor unit usage, meaning that it's going to use the most amount of muscle tissue that we possibly can in the shortest period of time, which for most of us is our 1 rep max strength. 1 rep max strength is usually the baseline for everything we can do repetition method, i.e. if I move my bench press 1 rep max strength up 100 pounds, then my ability to utilize more weight for repetitions increases based on the fact that I'm just stronger. So it's impossible to use 100-pound dumbbells on the bench press for reps if you can't bench more than about 250 pounds total, because your maximal weight and the amount of weight you want to use for reps are equal, which means that there will be no reps done or only 1 rep done. So your maximal strength has to rise even if your goal is to get more reps at a lighter weight. The next method is the dynamic effort method, and probably one of the most misunderstood methods and probably one of the most or least used methods. The dynamic effort method has a various amount of abilities in your training. One of them is force production. Now, what does that mean? Force production means that you can get stronger and stronger and stronger, but if you actually don't get faster, what will end up happening is that you won't be able to complete the work quick enough in order to actually show your strength. So these two methods are very CNS driven, okay? Both of these. But this one, if we look at the force equation, this one goes here, okay? And this side of the equation goes here. Our end goal to being stronger and being quicker is to create more force. So if we're able to create more force, then we're able to play sports better, we're able to lift and squat and deadlift and bench press more. But we have to have both ends of this spectrum in order for us to do well. This is also a developer of coordination as well. Okay, so you got to remember, even though these are both different sides of the spectrum, they attack the CNS in very similar ways in coordination. So a great strength coach is going to be able to see when you fail with maximum weights, he's going to be able to see the weaknesses involved and the muscles that either helped or did not help or recruit. Also, with a light sub-maximal weight at maximum velocity, you're going to be able to see the same technical breakdowns. It's just going to happen at a faster rate. So I would say that in coaching, the dynamic effort method is much, much harder to use in coaching because everything happens so much faster. It's harder to see mistakes when they're quick. It's easy to see mistakes when it's maximum effort and it becomes slow. But just remember that eventually, as you're working on getting stronger, you're going to have to work on getting faster at the same time, or this is going to be the limiting factor, and therefore, even though you might be stronger, you're not going to be able to see it. Another thing that we can do in the dynamic effort method, if the shorter rest periods are present, is we can actually increase fitness level. So explosiveness is great, but if you're only explosive, let's say in a football play, for only one drive or one play per drive, you're not going to do that well. And I find that to be the same case with the explosive training, is we have to be explosive at multiple times. So what we like to do with the dynamic effort method is we like to keep the rest periods very, very short so we can maintain high velocity even in a fatigued state. That sounds very, very important, not only for powerlifting, but for tactical and everything else. Explosive is awesome, but if you're only explosive one time, not real good. The last but not the least method is the repetition effort method. The repetition effort method is used for hypertrophy, meaning muscle size. So because it has a lot more time under tension than the others, i.e. the highest level of max effort method you probably would want to use is around 5 reps, and the maximum amount of dynamic effort reps that you would want to use is 3. But in the repetition effort method, you could have a various amount of different reps, all the way from 6 to infinite, meaning, you know, sets of upwards of 25, maybe even 50 I've experimented with. But the repetition effort method is used for hypertrophy. It emphasizes weak points. This is the other thing that you need to understand, is like max effort method is generalized. It trains, you can train weak muscle groups or use bars that you're not as good at. And with the dynamic effort method, you can use grips and positions you're not as good at. But in the repetition effort method, almost all of your accessory movements need to be based on your weakest links. This is what creates better motor patterns, better positioning, and strengthening. But remember that you have to fatigue motor units in order for them to be turned on, meaning that if you are training hard, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to fatigue those motor units either by failure or by strain, meaning that a lot of times in the repetition effort method, you want to push past that 9 that we talk about in the max effort method and actually go until you literally cannot do the movement anymore. The only way you're going to recruit maximum fiber is from maximal fatigue in the repetition method. So you've seen this video, you've seen the 3 different methods. We've went into a very good detail on why you need each method and why they're important. So on the Patreon channel, I'm going to go into how you lay this out into a weekly fashion and how you separate these methods in order to get the maximum benefit from the least amount of work, therefore making your training not only fun but effective.